Hello everyone, we are live. Welcome to Let's Build. How are we all this evening? So, the Titfield Thunderbolt. We might have got a little bit carried away with that last week, because we forgot about this truck that we had sat waiting for its transfers. It looks a bit bare. And of course that we were supposed to finish that last week, so I think we're going to have to start this evening by getting the transfers on that and getting it put together before we start work on dropping everything everywhere, because I put the instructions on top of something, or under something even, before we start work on this. Let's find all the pieces and put them back quickly. Yes, Alex, whoops. We definitely weren't doing something much more important. I definitely haven't lost the etchings for the Thunderbolt there. They'll be around, they'll turn up before we need them. I know I had them earlier. So, our wagon. It needs some transfers so that it can look like its nicely detailed cousin. Same livery, same paint scheme, slightly different tear weight and a different number. Again, this has been fully researched to make sure this is accurate for this wagon. So we'll be getting some nice big LBSCs, some slightly smaller numbers, and some very tiny tear weights. And we'll pretend it was always planned to finish at this stream, because, you know, what else would we have planned? So what has everyone been up to? How are we all? I hope we are good. Have we been up to anything interesting over the last week? And for that matter, are we working on anything now whilst we watch? So again, as we've done before, we cut around the transfer we want. Once the transfer paper is lifting, we get the transfer in place. Oh, planning a scratch build. Very nice, Harry. Are you willing to share with us what that is? The next brother is in arms, Alex. I will look forward to that, because I've quite enjoyed watching that game. So once we are happy with the placement of our transfers, we give them a press. Hello, Red. How are you this evening, sir? It is good to see you. You join us as we remember that we had a wagon to finish last week. And didn't. I am very well, thank you, Red. Hello, Tom. Welcome, welcome. How are you, sir? Hello, James. Everyone is showing up tonight. It's great to see you all. Thank you for coming. It is very much appreciated. I hope everyone is well. All the new people that are just turning up, have we been up to anything through the week? Are we doing anything whilst we are tuned in tonight? We are just lettering our wagon that we built. Ah, good evening, Killian. Welcome. This is going well, isn't it? I'm very happy right now. So yes, we are lettering up our wagon that we have been building because we forgot to do that last week. I hope everyone is well. To our newcomers, I'm glad to see you all here. I hope you are well. Have you been up to anything through the week? Are you up to anything whilst you're tuning in? Freelance electric shunter based off Blackpool Corporate. Ah, very nice, Harry. Oh, excellent. Red, I hope you have a good time at your wargaming convention tomorrow. And working on the Garrett. I can't wait to see the Garrett finished. Ooh, engage turnout. God, I've built a P4 turnout. I'm not sure I could manage engage. Yes, well, once we've got this wagon lettered, we will be back onto the Thunderbolt. It is sat next to me, ready to go. Just we were supposed to finish this off last week, and we kind of forgot. Because we got carried away with the Thunderbolt, actually. So, once the transfers are pressed on, yeah, that is nice and soft still. Brush and water. I like to leave the transfer paper to soak for a second just to make sure it's really loosened up. I don't know that that's actually necessary for these, but I find it makes it easier. Very nice stuff going on there. I had a lot of help when I was doing the P4 one, James. I mean, obviously I'm not a P4 modeler, so there we go. After that's set slightly, I can lift the transfer paper off. Again, I'm just getting the tweezers up underneath the corner and lifting. which leaves us a wagon with some letters. But yes, I had someone P4 over my shoulder when I was building the turnout, and I actually have a feeling it was rebuilt later on. When I was at club and someone was trying to tell me that anyone can model P4, even me. So quite how much was my skills and how much was theirs is another matter. R1s, clearly your favourite loco, Tom. You seem to have quite a few R1s. I'd like another R1 to backdate to an R, but then that'll do me. Ah. Oh no, it's okay. For a second there, I thought I didn't have enough numbers to do the number for both sides of this wagon. It's okay, I do. It is going to be number 8767, and when I realised that with... Actually, they're not even the right number. These are the numbers I want down here. So I have loads of them. I don't know. Oh, I know what I use the bigger letters, the bigger numbers for. They're for the brake van, aren't they? Yes. 8767 didn't have a bar fitted across the top, so that is the number we are going for. You know what? I give up already. It's time to put the world into high definition. Shh, glasses case, you're being loud. Yeah, I can see the that project obviously went well. So we'll start with an 8. These letters conveniently are the perfect height, numbers sorry, are the perfect height for one plank on the triangle wagon. So you can see there, when it focuses, that the 8 and the plank are the exact same height. Very, very convenient. Eight, 7, 6, 7. I didn't pick this number on purpose to have lots of numbers close to each other. It's just one that I know didn't have a bar for the sheet across the top. And as it was decided last week that this one would not be getting one, I thought I'd best use that. The lettering is HMRS sheet number 13, which is Southern Wagon lettering. Doesn't actually include all the wagon lettering because it doesn't have the word guard for the doors of the brakes vans, but I'm sure I can get them somewhere else. It's a nice sheet of both grouping and all three pre-grouping companies. Which of course means a lot of the sheet is useless to me, but it does mean I can donate to others in need. Yes, Tom's R in SER black does look good. Pictures on our own web, I believe. I know I've seen it somewhere, maybe it's just in a live stream. It's a very, very nice looking logo and I definitely want one. No, James, it's Pressfix. Purchased because they were cheap, actually. I found them on eBay and got 3 sheets for the usual price of 1. I was quite happy with that. Eight, 7, 6, and one more 7. Yes, Alex, that place. I know you don't like frequenting there, especially after the other day, but sometimes there's stuff on there that's worth it. So I've done all these letters separately and peeled the backing off separately, unlike the LBSC, just because of how close together they are. With the LBSC I had lots of room around them, with these not so much. We have an identity. It's not completely straight, but then again, none of my modelling is perfect. Hydration break already. Hydration is important, kids. Right, so the tear weight, 512.2. I think that's a 5 there. Even with my glasses on, I struggle with these. Told you, James, I don't drink like this normally. It's only when I'm streaming and talking constantly. That's not the way round you want to be. You're upside down. Thought I had you there. And this is with the glasses on. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol often, and it affects me a little bit when it does, as when I do, as Alex can tell you. We got there. There is a 5 there. It is really, really, really tiny. But it's there. What should I use my... Oh, I do sometimes think streaming with alcohol would be fun. For science purposes, obviously. Let's see your audience seeking options. Go with the wooden blocks, Harry. I love dumb buffers on shunters. They look great. Dumb buffers all the way. I don't ever feel bad for stealing my audience for questions like that. We're building a nice little community here. Let's all help each other out. That is, after all, what this stream is about. Right, we've got to do a dot next. Hands up if you remember how fun the dots were. Please note, if you put your hands up, I can't actually see you, so... I'm glad your wallet appreciates it, Harry. And Red, you can always correct none of your locos having dumb buffers. You know, no one's going to stop you adding them to a loco. Or adding another loco to your fleet, just specifically so you can give it dumb buffers. Oh good, I'm glad that pressed on nicely. There it is. I think. That looks like a dot, but it's a lot smaller than any dots I've seen on the app before, so I'm thinking half of that's come off. Yeah, wargaming's not cheap, is it? But neither is railway modelling. We're all insane. Those dots can go over there. Yeah, don't play about with it if it's your favourite loco, Red. No, there's nothing there, not even a dot on that bit. I really need a different way of doing these. The numbers are fine, I can just about manage them. But I mean, these dots, I even struggle to see where they are on the transfer paper, never mind on the wagon. Oh, look, I see me on the... How have you come off on my finger? Bye then. So I'm going to do the number 12 next. My sanity feels I need it. As I read, I'd considered paint pens, but I don't think they come fine enough for this either. I know things don't scale on camera very well. Let's find a bit of the ruler I haven't drawn on. But if we look at our tear numbers there, next to a ruler, when it focuses, those dots are tiny. Today's episode brought to you by number 12, letters L, B, S, C and R. There's no R. Good evening, Christopher. Welcome to the stream, sir. I'm almost disappointed that you're late. Supposed to be here moderating. And don't give me excuses like, you know, having your own life and such forth. Chat is working on the screen. Not on mine, it's not. Is anyone else seeing chat working on the screen? No, James, no R. This is the later livery when they were just going by LBSC. Well said, Killian. Even you were on time. No one else can have any excuses. Right, now that we've got that 12 on, I feel a little better about this wagon. Gonna put a 2 on it as well. I think I could, honestly, I could get away with not having the dots and having it weathered. So I'm going to leave it without them for the time being. If I get the urge to do them another time, then I will. And if I have it at a show and someone comments on it, I will make sure to have the transfer sheets with me and say, there you go, knock yourself out. And if they can do it better than I can, I won't feel bad at all. I'll feel glad that it's done. But from normal viewing distances, you're not going to tell that one has dots and the other one doesn't. Let's be honest. Really must get round to sticking that down. So, half an hour in, half a wagon done. We are nearly ready to get on with the Thunderbolt. Which, let's face it, that's why we're all here, myself included. I want to see that wagon, that loco done. But we do also need to finish other projects, because otherwise we'll become like all the other modelers who never finish projects. And we're not doing that here. By all the other modelers, I mean me, usually. Evening, Linny. Do not worry about being late. We would never moan at anyone about being late here, would we, Christopher? How are you this evening, Linny? And it's quite all right to fall asleep early. I totally understand. Remember, I'm kind of in the same boat as you when it comes to stuff like that. I do still suffer the same. If you're not surrounded by unfinished projects, are you really a modeler or wargamer or any of these other hobbies that require you to do things manually like this? I, however, started up a live stream to get projects done, to get modelling finished. I have a large selection of kits, and this live stream will ensure they all get done. I mean, not this exact one, but every Sunday at 9 UK time. Currently British summertime, Christopher, not GMT. Poking walking around with your shiny new toy. I'm not jealous of your new toy in the slightest, Linny. Not at all. You know, my wagons I'm building could use with some buffers that are correct pattern. Just saying. Well, James, I mean, it's one of the things that's worked. It's got me modelling more and more consistently. Obviously, the main purpose is to encourage others, to show people that actually this kit building, scratch building, etc. isn't as hard as everyone thinks it is. But the fact that it encourages me to get things done and finish them is a wonderful side effect of that. And it matches my motto that Mr. Christopher could tell you all about. When anyone says to me about a project they're planning... Yes, Linny, I do have drawings. Potentially I could make them on a lathe, but as I currently don't have a lathe, I will be getting one. There's one that I want. But actually having it and actually being any good with it... I was going to get one for a birthday previous years, but the less said about the person that was getting me the lathe, the better. So we've got the LBSC on this side. I'm just going to get the numbers on. Get the tear weight minus dots. And then we'll be on with the Thunderbolt. "1920s modelling magazine." That's even older than the ones I read, Linny. Although they still go on about lathes and stuff, because my books are mainly 60s. Yeah, exactly, Red. The amount of stuff you could just have to hand if you had a lathe. I had one recommended to me as ideal for 4mm scale modelling by a friend who does 7¼ inch railways and uses a big lathe for that. In fact, he turns his own wheels on his lathe, so he knows what he's on about. Unless you get your hair caught. I don't think I've got an issue with getting my hair caught in a lathe, Red. It's been on the stream enough. I don't have much of it. More than some people, but shh. Hydration is important, kids, and talking makes you thirsty. What size of lathe did it... There's actually one on eBay that he recommended as being okay. It's a Chinese knockoff of some big posh German brand. And he says he knows people that have used these knockoffs and they're absolutely fine. I cannot remember what the name of it is, but it was about £100, so pretty cheap. It's red. apparently the originals are red as well. It's a proper knockoff. Yeah, he said he knows a few people that have these red ones that they've had imported from China that are a knockoff of these really expensive German ones. So you may be able to find it on eBay, searching for a modelling lathe and finding a cheap red one for about £100. Alternatively, I could stick a link on my website, oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk, where you'll find details of all my modelling eventually. It's getting there. Now made a page about Bright Helmstone, my photo plank layout, and that was a fun layout to build. I built the whole layout in a month, including scratch building a Cowan and Sheldon's turntable. Good fun. So, you know, make sure you check out my website, subscribe to my YouTube, smash that like button, feed my ego in all sorts of ways. But yeah, tomorrow or something I'll find the link for that lathe on eBay, because it is in my watch list, and I'll stick under my links section, I've got a useful links bit. And I will stick it in there. It's been shaved since around 2 weeks. That sounds familiar, Killian. That might be it, yes. British Rail Buffet? No. We're bit early for that. Bit early for this text speak as well. I don't think they had that in 1912. Right, I need a 5. You know, I had the number for this side lined up perfect. It went really well. Bye-bye 5. There you are. And then, no, you're a dead one. I'll get another one. The second 7 moved as I was pressing the transfer down. I'm quite disappointed by that. Although I don't strive for perfection, it's nice when it happens by accident. Should be able to give a random measure and e-brick. Yes, I can, Harry. If you're doing that download off the website in Acrobat, Adobe, whatever their PDF reader's called now, you select print full size and it will print at full size. So the body is the body side should measure 65mm, and it should be, the body side again should be 24mm tall, and it's 30mm wide. Don't think they've had live stream of that. I don't know, I think 1912 internet was really, really, really advanced. In fact, it was so advanced they didn't have, you couldn't do any recorded video, so everything had to be done live. Including streaming, which of course back then would mean going down to the stream until wash your clothes or something, I don't know. I'm really grasping at this one now. But you certainly didn't video it and watch it back later. Yeah, TCP/IP over Telegram. You'd be amazed at the things you can run TCP/IP over. I've certainly run it over things other than Ethernet. Excellent, glad you printed them off right, Harry. I hope to see some pictures of your build when it happens. TCP/IP over wet string. Okay, I've not gone that far. Welcome back, Red. I once did TCP/IP over serial for a peer-to-peer LAN, so that me and a friend could play a flight simulator together. Of course, back in the days when, you know, if you had your Ethernet card was a separate add-on to your machine. It certainly didn't come with one. And I didn't have one in mine. However, I did have a serial port. So we actually, this would have been Windows 98. And we wrote our own networking stack to run over serial so that we could play this online game together. It was great. Back in the days when I was a real nerd. I've seen TCP/IP over carrier pigeon done. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant by serial. That's the type of serial I meant, not a 25 pin, I think, D-plug. It's been that long, I can't even remember how many pins it has. We want another 2, and then we're going to call this wagon done for transfers. We're going to put it together and we're going to play with the Thunderbolt. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the stream. Yes, milk does go better with cereal than TCP/IP packets. Don't worry, Red, most people have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk technical. I'm very well qualified in that. It is what I do. I couldn't tell you what pins I used. Ah! Welcome, it is good to see you here. Chuffing hell. Yes, I can tell you're an electronics person, Linny. But no, I can tell you what pins I used. I didn't use a standard setup. I literally wrote my own networking stack. Because I didn't have the internet, so I couldn't exactly download something, and I couldn't read any manuals. Right then, we are going to put this wagon back together, including its weight that I have cut down. And then we are going to get to work on the Thunderbolt. Before I do that, I should probably put this back over these to at least try and keep some dirt off of them, although they're getting quite mucky now. They can go on my plank of wood behind me. I've got glue's going nice and fast. I might actually throw this one because I bought some new glue because of how this one was getting. It's not that it's low, it's just slow. Networking is deep, dark magic to everyone, Linny. Don't worry about that. No one understands what us network engineers do, including me. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Clean and I. Well, yes. It's. I mean, the biggest problem with these is, of course, that they come from the pound shop. So no matter how clean and airtight I keep them, they're a bit rubbish. You be as nosy as you want, Chris. You are very, very welcome here. I've enjoyed watching your layout on RMWeb and shall continue to do so. And I hope you enjoy what I am doing. As I say, we're going to put this together and go back to the loco. Because this stream is not a place for unfinished projects. And this one was supposed to be finished last week. Ah, Okay, the transfers, yes, indeed. The transfers are very important and sacred. Where did they go? There they are. Got them. And so we have a finished wagon, built entirely on stream. Obviously it's not stuck down yet, and it's obviously got a gap under there, but ignore that, that'll go away when I actually stick it down properly. Right now, I want to get back on with this, and I'm sure you lot want me to get back on with this as well. That is, after all, the point of this week's stream. The tick-filled Thunderbolt. I am kind of wondering what I did with that etch earlier now, though. I know it was up here. And it hasn't dropped off anywhere obvious when I knocked stuff over earlier. Hopefully we shan't need it today and I'll have time to find it. But before any of that, this needs some filler. Don't mention unfinished projects. Going back to Billington, can't work in this bank. They idle on the modelling front. Well, we had a discussion about unfinished projects earlier, actually, Stephen, and how I don't want any on this stream because I have plenty of them already. I have also been idle on the modelling front for, in fact, this whole week, never mind the bank holiday weekend. You've still got tomorrow to get your Billington breakdown done, though. Or better yet, you could be working on it now whilst you watch here. But yes, so projects that I start on this stream are going to be finished, even if my other ones aren't. I actually do very little modelling off stream at the moment, which is one of the reasons there hasn't been a real update to RM Web. So, filler. Revel filler. Believe I've used this on stream before. I can't remember why, but I'm pretty sure I have. But yes, I just use Revel Plasto. Plenty of fillers out there to do the job. This just happens to be the one that I use, and I generally apply it with my knife blade. So we're going to have to fill in those holes that we made last week. As I said, none of the problems we had last week were unfixable. So none of them were that big of an issue for me. Good night, Linny. Thank you for coming. It's been much appreciated. Sleep well. The royal golden corpse graces us with his presence. Welcome, sir. Your presence is very much appreciated here. RM Web royalty. Modelling now. Nah, drunk modelling's always good fun, Stephen. Don't worry about that. Not that I would ever admit to getting drunk. I hope I'm fun when I'm drunk. Alex will tell you. Come to his stream drunk a few times. I feel the blessing, Corbs. It is wonderful. Oh, I really must change my RM Web profile picture back at some point, actually. I think the tin joke has gone on for long enough now. So yes, this kit has a lot of gaps to fill. But again, I was warned about all this before I started it. I was well expecting it all. This is not an easy kit. Once this one's finished, I'm going to build one of my Southeastern Finecast kits. And you can see what an easy kit is like. Don't know what one yet, I've got a few of them, but I will get some wheels ordered for one of them and you can see what an easy kit's like. Oh, very nice, Christopher. Very, very nice. Yeah, I could see that being really, really fun to do whilst drunk, Stephen. Honestly, that'd be great fun. So, for those who haven't done stuff like this, you can probably see that the filling isn't particularly neat. But once all this is dried properly, we will neaten it up with a file. So you don't have to be too careful. Obviously, you've got to be careful to a degree. You know, the messier it is, the more work you're giving yourself later. But it can all be cleaned up with a file once it has gone hard. And even your finger before then. Thomas or not Thomas, that is the question. You know what? I can give you some real not Thomas. Because we've been having a clear out of stuff here and my son found one of his locos earlier. Very much not Thomas. In fact, he has every ready-to-run thing ever produced in Caledonian livery. Seth kits 5 people, 0 kit building experience and 0 skill at anything. Yes, Alex, yes they are. They are perfect for that. my first ever white metal kit was a Southeastern Finecast, originally wheels, i3 Brighton Atlantic tank. I built it in an evening. Had great fun doing it, and it kind of started me off wanting to build more and more kits. Now, Corbs, the thing is, you assume I keep my workbench this clean. And I thank you for assuming that. But this gets tidied up during the day on Sunday. If I do even if I don't do anything at all, there's a load of stuff on my sofa that after stream will be dumped back on my workbench. It is clean for you lot. Right, I think I'm done with filler for now. I don't know what's in it, but it's good stuff. Is that the reader of the weird clock? Yes, that's the one, Red. i3, I'm interested in building one of those. Built it in an evening, I'm impressed. Well, in that case, James, I will go through my kit box, because I do have another Southeastern Finecast i3 kit in there. I will see if I've got some wheels for it. If so, that will be what we build next. They really are that easy that I built it in an evening as my first ever kit. And now I need a drink. Hydration is important, kids. Seth R-Class one day, yeah. And a parallel boiler Scott. Go for it, Alex. They're wonderful kits. So, we've done that side. We're going to work on the Titfield Thunderbolt. That's definitely what it doesn't say Lion up there. It says Thunderbolt X Titfield Railway. Of course. If you're seeing anything else, then that's your eyes. Necessary to construct the chassis first. So, need several of those. Oh, excellent. Well, I shall definitely have to do that next then, James, because, yeah, if you're going to need several of them, we will have to look at doing one on stream for you. So the chassis has to be built first. Which of course means fitting the motor in the chassis. Or does it? I'm looking at this and I think the chassis is just going to screw together so I can fit the motor later, which is good because following discussions last week, I have found a DCC chip that will power this K's motor and will fit inside the underneath of this tender. So, this loco is most definitely going to get DCC'd. You all challenged me to it and it is going to happen. Okay, Stephen, everything 00 ready to run in Cali livery. The oldest surviving branch line in the world, that's the one. So, who thinks the chassis is going to line up with itself? Because I've heard this is the first stumbling block of these. I forgot that's still on there. I need to get that off. So, yes, I have been told that stumbling block the first of this loco kit is that the holes on the chassis are never square. Which, of course, could be an issue. You'd think I'd just put a new blade in the knife, wouldn't you? But no. I have this thing called being tight that means if I can reuse this blade, I will. So we're going to see if our chassis lines up with itself. I'm going to say that I have got very lucky with this kit. That chassis lines up perfect. That could not be better. I have been told that none of them do that, so I'm very happy right now. Let's hang this back up. Oh, that's the instructions that actually came with the motor. So you're very intrepid building this ancient and troubled kit. Yeah, thank you, James. It's Oh, well done, Stephen. I'm glad you're doing the drunk modelling. I really am. It will go well. Trust me, it will. Yeah, James, you know, I was warned when I first got this kit how terrible it was. But when it came to streaming, the projects I had, I expected Linney's kits to be going for a couple of weeks longer to tide me over till payday so I could buy some wheels for one of my South Eastern Finecast kits. Obviously that did not happen, so I needed something to do. I looked through all my kit boxes and this was the only kit I had that I actually had everything for. So I had very little choice in the matter of streaming this. As there is nothing in here to deaden the sound, everything is so echoey. I hope, as long as it's not me that's echoey and it's your big empty room, that's fine. So, a chassis. It's a very, very technical chassis, this one, as you can see. Live streaming is safer without the pictures. Don't worry, Stephen, I can't spell when I'm sober, never mind when I'm drunk. Look at that. The axles go straight through. I mean, they need bearings in still. There's the etch. Be honest, everyone, who had seen that sitting up there? And just wasn't telling me. I knew I'd had it. Let's put these axles back in this pot. Right. Assemble chassis frame using spacers and 8BA flathead screws before tightening. Before final tightening, place chassis on a flat surface to check for twist. That is why I have a big bit of glass. Press axle bearings into the holes in the frames. Check that the axles are free fitting. It may be necessary to remove sharp edgings or phase in the bearings using a needle file. Let's have a look at these bearings then. 1, 2, 3, and this one here is already on an axle. That tells me that one's going to fit fine. I see nothing to remove on these bearings. They look perfect to me. They are a very tight press fit. That's quite impressive. That one's not going all the way in. I'm just going to give it a press with these. Of course, we want even pressure on it as we do that. Hello Ian, welcome, thank you for popping by. I actually did want to check the line-up of the coupling rods with the axle holes. However, because they're offset on the Thunderbolt, the ends of the axles are a different type of connection to the ones on the etches. We will see if it does as best we can. Where did that? Oh, that bearing doesn't want to stay in. One free turning axle. Seen Linny been busy with, yes, Linny has been very busy with his new printer. It's very nice, isn't it? I'm not jealous in the slightest. Not at all. Starting at 9:30, Alex. What do you think you're doing? Having a life or something? Because as I explained to Chris earlier, I'm not sure we can allow that. Doesn't want to go through this one. That's okay. Where do we go to see Alex's streams? Alex streams over on twitch.tv/Alex the Mole, Ian. However, it's a gaming stream rather than a railway stream. And they look like they line up, but because these are D-shaped axles onto round holes there because of how the cranks sit. That's the best I can tell you, is they look like they fit. Another time as viewing number is tanking. Fair enough, Alex, I'll let you off then. That sounds like a good reason to me. Right. This one isn't quite as free turning as the other one. So I'm just going to go through the bearing hole with the file again. Oh yeah, that's much more free turning now. These are both very nicely free turning. This bearing coming out is going to get annoying though. Right. 2. Remove sharp edges from the ends of the larger diameter of the axles. Carefully push fit one driving wheel onto each axle until the outer face of the wheel hub is level with the axle shoulder. Okay, I think I know what it means. From sharp edges from the ends of the larger diameter of the axles. I think that means around here where the wheels will sit. But I'm also going to file off the end there because they do have little dimples on them. Yeah. Well, Alex's stream is very worthwhile watching if your son enjoys things like that, Ian. He's a very good streamer. He's quite new to it, so any extra support would be great. I can certainly be found there of an evening, and we do quite often talk railways, so it's not all about gaming all the time. We're going to fit some wheels. And we're going to use the original K's wheels, which again, as I said last week, people tell me these are horrible and corrode as soon as they hit the air. The ones on the tender from last week are looking great, so I'm quite happy with them so far. There it is. Put that there for a moment. I can feel a burr on the back of here that should probably be removed. There we go. Now, of course, the good thing about this kit is, of course, where the crank pins are offset. There's no quartering to do on the wheels. Remove sharp edges. Where's my wheel back gauge? Yes, they do sit on those larger sections, right. That is what I originally thought, but then when I read the instructions I read differently. I read it as they would sit up flush against it. Good luck, Gary. Cheers, Red. Excellent, thank you, Killian. I'm glad you have confirmed that for me. Because I'll be honest, I had been quite worried about this kit based on all the things I've been told about it being horrendous. That's too far. But if you have 30-year-old K's wheels that have no rust, I should be okay. It's a bit like when I bought some Gibson wheels and someone said, oh, why have you bought Gibsons? Because they're the right pattern. And Romford, Scale Link, etc. don't make the right pattern. Said, oh yes, but the tyres are steel, they'll go rusty. To which my response was, I don't plan on keeping the loco in a pond, so I should be okay. Indeed. It's one of the things that makes his streams great, Christopher. I'm going to need to pour another drink. Remember kids, hydration is important. Even if you haven't had 10 packets of crisps for dinner. Right. Axle hole in the wheel is pushed tight fit rather than a force fit to ensure the wheel centres run well and true. It's possible that some wheels may be a little slack. So if so, the wheels should be pushed 1/16 inch too far onto the axle. A small spot of super glue applied to the axle where the wheel will fit and the wheel track drawn back to its correct position. That's a clever way of doing that. These two that I've fitted so far are very tight. I don't think they're going to need that. As this is a screw together chassis, should they need it in the future, I can do that. Fit the axle wheels empties to chassis, check these spin freely, and fit the other wheels. I'm just going to clear some bits out the way of my test track. That's the one that falls out. I was kind of hoping that I was putting it through that one. Rather nice Bordeaux, never mind. Fruit tea to the rescue. Oh, there we go, it was right at the foot of the chair. Brilliant. Don't move the workbench. That also moves the camera. And makes Stephen think he's even more drunk if he's looking at the screen when it happens. Don't worry, that was me moving the camera, not your vision. So, these go through. I did earlier anyway. You all saw it. Somehow it now doesn't fit. So we'll just run the file through again. Nope, still doesn't fit. How very strange. How very strange indeed. Exactly, Stephen. Nothing wrong with your vision. It's the weld that's wrong. A feeling I know only too well. I hate to think how the lag's playing with your drunkenness, though. Go on, get on there. Honestly, you all saw this fit through earlier, yeah? I'm going to try fitting the other axle to it and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, that one fits. How strange. So let's get that refitted in the hole properly. Right, next step is to fit the wheels to this side. Putting very light pressure on this. I do not want to press hard at all, I don't want to do that. Never mind. Worse things have happened on this stream, in fact. Just going to put my back-to-back gauge in there. It's like those damn moving trees and lampposts that attack poor drunk people trying to get home. I've never been attacked by one of them, unfortunately, Alex. I've always made my way home safely after a night out. And I'll be honest, there's been quite a few of them in my time. More than there should have been. Ooh, too far. Right then. I'm going to put this on a bit of track. And it's going to roll absolutely beautifully. Oh, that is wonderful. Look at that. Look at that, everyone. Hello, my name is Gary and I'm very happy. We have a rolling chassis. When I do drink, it's always at home, so not far from my bed. Good idea, Alex. Drinking somewhere you can easily find your bed is always good. Oh, I'm just watching that rolling chassis on the telly. That's making me so happy. Right, next step apparently is the crank pins. Or the cranks. Sorry, not the crank pins. So we have to remove the cranks from the etch. I think we're going to need this very shortly as well. So remove crank from etch. This of course is going to be where we find out if the wheels are the right distance apart. But as I was told, the wheels wouldn't even line up with each other through the chassis. I'm feeling very positive about this kit at the moment. Now this is where K's kits have their advantage, because there is no quarter in here. Everything is D-shaped. Of course, there's also a disadvantage to that in that I can't see what way the D is when my fingers are covering it. And of course there is always the possibility that as well as me not seeing what I'm doing, that either the etch or the axle could be slightly wrong and so not fit together properly. Let's bring the clamp down here. Thunderbolt wants you to make it live. Yes, yes it does. I'm not sure that this is going to fit in my clamp, but of course it's the best way to give even pressure. Well, actually the best way to give even pressure would be to actually put it above the screw. And somehow it still hasn't gone on straight. Time for chocolate pudding. When isn't it time for chocolate pudding, Mr. Lancaster? You say that as if there is a time when it is not suitable for chocolate pudding. And of all the things that my belly tells me there is time for, chocolate pudding is high up there on the list of, you should always be eating this. Right. Now it does advise actually pressing these on and then gluing them so that they don't fall off like that. And it does say glue on there, it doesn't say solder, it says glue. Of course, if I'm motorising at a later date, they need to come apart again. which means I want it to fit nicely. I want it to be very tight. I want it to hold itself in place so I can take it apart and I'll glue it when I motorise it. Well, I would love to comment on the domestic harmony situation of whether this will catch on or not. However, I am divorced, so my opinions probably don't help much. But I can certainly see why a non-railway modeller would say that. Seriously, I want to know who came up with the idea of doing it like this and not just having it screw on. Because I know the actual conrods just screw on. It might be better to do that first because I'm not gluing these. So, we shall do that. Yeah, probably not probably best to not report that back. So, we then have a loop that goes on next. Well, you see, Alex, whilst it may seem like a bad design, of course, it was actually the D-shaped axles was something K's did to help with quartering. And from that point of view, it's good, it makes sense. Especially when it's the wheels that are being quartered and it's the wheels that have the D shape in them. This is, of course, something that will come to bite us again later. Because the motorisation kit being a separate item and not the same, not designed for this kit, but actually rather generic, means it's designed to sit on a D-shaped axle. So the gear for the axle is actually D-shaped and the axles for this aren't. So that's going to cause us some issues again. But that's more through the fact it's a generic bit of kit rather than this kit's fault. Oh, and just to clear up some fears about the ideas of railway modelling and my divorce, I was divorced before I started railway modelling, so it's fine. You won't get a divorce by being a modeller. I mean, you might, but it won't be the only reason. And then we have another tiny little loop. Really is tiny. And it goes down on there. And so we shall get a look at the completed mechanism in a second. Obviously these crank pins, when the loco is finished, will need cutting down. Now, where's my cat? There we go. So we have here a rather fiddly section there. And of course I definitely checked that I was putting these on right and haven't put one with the D-shaped axle the wrong way round. Folks get very obsessive. Well, yes, there are blokes that get very obsessive about modelling, Alex. The question is, with those types of blokes, are they the type that get married anyway? But no, my divorce came many years before I found railway modelling. It's very possible, having something therapeutic like railway modelling in my life, I would have actually stayed married. You never know. Don't take that as an invite that I would have enjoyed staying married, because my ex-wife is not a nice person. Just out of curiosity, when you got into railway mod, what got you into railway? I mean, I've always had an interest in railways, kind of fostered by my granddad. He had an old Triang set that lived at my mum's house for a while when I was very little. Once that was gone, however, my activities relating to railways basically ceased, but I always had an interest in them, and I actually, many years later, got given all that old Triang stuff back because his new wife didn't want it taking up space in their house. So it found its way to me, and that is how I got into the hobby. Drugs, power, money and girls. Let me try and break that one down, Alex. I was on drugs, had no power, wanted to waste lots of money and couldn't get girls? Is that what you mean? No offence, anyone. Just trying to go with the stereotype that we all have to live to. Remember, we are all friends here, we are all tarred with the same brush. I know it's not true, you know it's not true. Drugs, and that's me. Yeah, I was never actually on any drugs, so I just, let's just clarify that now. The only drugs I take are ones my doctor tells me I have to. I'd love to say there's not many of them, but that would be a lie. Right, these cranks may be better leaving until after I've got the DCC chip and I've motorised it. I want to, because I want to get the chip and test the motor and everything before fitting it. So I might leave the cranks until then, because then I won't feel so bad cutting all this. If I just give this a file, if I can get it to sit tight, I will do it. But of course, if I file off too much, it's going to cause issues with it staying there. And once I can fit them permanently, those issues will go away. But of course, until these are fitted permanently and actually stuck in place, more likely with a blob of solder than the recommended glue, to be honest. It won't matter if I filed a bit too much away and they're a loose fit. Sex, drugs and rock and roll versus celibacy, tea and railway modelling. Well said, James. Just realised I'm doing this the wrong way anyway. I actually want them pointing down as I'm doing this. No, it's not going to go on, so we're going to carry on without them for now. So I say, once I've got the DCC chip and I've tested the motor and everything works fine with that chip and I can fit it all properly, then we will fit them properly. Why are you all taking Calpol? I have some little people that I own that take Calpol. But I don't take Calpol. Right. Yes. Is that one of the plastic ones, is it? No, definitely not. It can't be because it says I could solder it, so it can't be a plastic one. Number 5. 8BA screw, 1/2 inch long. Nope. I've got a bolt for it. But I've got no 8BA screw. Not even in the motorising kit. That's helpful. Yeah, if they did an adult version of Calpol, I would be all over that, I agree. But, you know, 'tis for the small people. And there's a very small bolt there. I don't want to lose that. There's no 8BA screw though. That's a pain. Right, that's those 4. Well, I don't see any of these other screws mentioned, so I'm wondering if they changed to using these plastic ones actually. The important thing is it's time to get on with the body, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think it was a valid question. Reading up on the career of Billington Senior from being assistant. Yes. Indeed, Stephen, yes. And Stroudley actually started his career at a different railway, apprenticing on with working on locomotives of a different gauge, shall we say. Ever so slightly wider gauge. Right, so it says this should be number 5, which should be 1/2 inch long. Do I have any here that are 1/2 inch that are? This one, which doesn't have anything else with it, is 1/2 inch long. I'm going to say that is actually, they've replaced the screw, the bolt, sorry, with a plastic one. Read up on Craven. Yeah, Craven really was mad. Yes, yes, he was. If this fits on here, then this confirms my thinking. It's on there. I'm going with it. I am, Harry, he's right. Stroudley apprenticed under Daniel Gooch on the Great Western. It's a horrible thought, isn't it? Right, I'm going to open one of my new super glues. It's up here. What do you mean randomly picking up the knife and not paying much attention as I slice it through things is why I always cut myself. Probably came back to Haunting He probably does have more loco designs than anyone else, yes. Which is why he got the sack from Brighton. Because he was told to standardise and refused. I'd like to make a complaint to Poundland. They've stuck the label upside down on my pot of glue. That's cost me a whole 30p, that pot of glue. I expect it to be right. No, I'm not being unreasonable. You're being unreasonable. Over this glue essentially. These really need to point straight down, of course. Because it will eventually drop down through there. Secure this unit to the rear chassis spacer using nut 6, which is that one. So this chassis extension 14, that's this one, which also needs its hole filing out. Oh, I seem to find on this kit every hole as needed. I mean, you can see the indents for the holes there and there, but they don't go all the way through. Nothing on this chassis does. This loco, sorry. Some elbow, Harry. Swindon, Charles influence. Johnson was one of his pupils to a Peter Alderman back to Patrick Sterling at Doncaster. I see. Now, Stroudley himself was quite influential. When you think the people that trained under him, the Drummonds, for example. So they have certainly all influenced people. I'm sure this shouldn't need scrubbing. I should probably make the hole big enough, really, shouldn't I? Oh yeah, I can still see a bit in there. This round fire has really had some abuse from me during its life. It wants to retire. I did not know that, Killian. There we go, that fits. Now, which side of this is the back? I'm gonna say it's not this side, and it's actually this side. Well, wouldn't you? That was handy because it didn't fit through the other one. That was pure luck. Oh yes, I can say the frames sit nice and tight down in there. And then we put on the nut. Something's just fallen on the floor, and I have no idea what it was. I do not like when that happens. And I can't see anything on the workbench on my screen. That was what fell on the floor, because it was right here. I would say this is obviously making riveting viewing, but it's a nut and bolt, not a rivet. Yes, Alex, it was. Again, there's another fact I didn't know, Killian. Thank you very much. Right, that is on. A dry run using loco frames. Ooh. That's these frames. Wheels, smoke box and front buffer bin is advised. So I want lots of pieces here. I love how it suggests the wheels as if it hasn't already made me put them on. Dougal the Great was another Johnson T. Does it look like Thunderbolt yet? Right. Smoke box and front buffer beam. Your exploded diagram does not help with how this is supposed to sit for this dry run, Mr. K. Let's get the buffer beam off. That was all the parts it told me. Check the rear part logo will sit level with the driving wheels. Okay, so it wants me to do this to make sure the rear driving wheels, the rear wheels sit level with the drivers. At no point has it told me to get the rear wheels out yet. I'd best do that. I would find the one part of the workbench that has a blooming hole in it to put that down on, wouldn't I? Back to back gauge. Yes, okay, I get the idea. You're too close together. I still can't quite see how this is supposed to fit on. I get the impression the buffer beam sits like that. That is not straight. Dry runs are fun, as you can see. Obviously Stephen and his wine wouldn't know anything about that. The important thing is, from what I can tell so far, it all fits. There we go, it fits. That's definitely how the smoke box is supposed to look. I'm going with it fits. And just for the sake of Alex, since I said it looks like a poor decapitated Thunderbolt. That bit there needs to come off first. And there's flash on this kit in places that don't even make sense for there to be flash. You know what would have made finding where that smoke box went easier? But if you put this on first, because it's shaped around the splashers. Doesn't say that on the instructions. So let's see if we can work out how this sits here. Does that go behind there? It does, I think. Yeah, see, now I know. Let's make sure it's the same on the other side, shall we? Because, you know, a lot of people tell me frames on Kay's kits are terrible. Oh, that looks even better if I put it underneath there. Yeah, that looks an even better fit. Yeah, look at that. It fits. So now we know how it fits. Honestly, I would have never worked that out. But that's why we dry fit things. And what do we use for dry fitting? Blue tack. But in this case, we don't, because it's not sticking it. Right, so do we get to stick all these bits together now? Glue or solder foot plate to outside frames. Located on the shoulders with rear ends of the frames level with the back edge of the foot plate, a small step is created between the top edge of the frames and the surface of the foot plate. Glue on coupling mounting, number 30. I cannot see number 30 on there. Oh, that bit onto the buffer beam. I thought you meant the tender coupling, Mr. Kit, since we were working at that end. To protrude through from the rear of the front buffer beam. If I'd have looked that well, I'd just carried on reading to the end of the sentence, I would have known that, wouldn't I? Reading, ladies and gentlemen. Glue time. No, Alex, the kit really is that bad. There is a lot more effort being involved with this kit than there is with others I've built. For example, those wheels are very, very close to the insides of those splashers. I'm not convinced we're not going to short out when we put some power through it. But at least we're expecting these things. A novice would not be expecting these things, would not know what to be looking for, and may well miss stuff like that and get frustrated and never build a kit again. Still better than scratch building. Well, certain aspects of it are, sure. Thanks, that's what I wanted, was for you to fall out and roll away. I didn't want you to stay and be inside the frames that I was gluing that you won't fit back in again or anything. See, that to me is an issue. The fact that once this is stuck together, these wheels will not come back out. That doesn't seem right to me. Better than scratch building. Yeah. I wanted to follow that up by saying I do actually have plans for a scratch built loco for the stream. Yeah, I would have easily fit some bearings in this one, I think. Unlike the tender. I like 3D print a similar loco I've been eyeing up. So if I go 3D print one, I know it isn't perfect, but there are all the other early locos which was Yes, I mean I've seen Linny's 3D printed one of these that he bought, which obviously is the one you're on about. It's the same kit, and it is a very nice loco. That feels like something is pressing on this rear set of drivers. But I can't see where. That feels a bit better. Still love to see an 1830s, 84. Yeah, Alex Corbs, yes, that 1840s in HO blog. Very nice blog. It is by Ian Simpson, who has popped into this stream to chat a few times. Yes, he's a very nice bloke, Ian. Does some excellent modelling, although I understand doesn't get nearly as much time for it anymore due to work. But yeah, it really is excellent. Right, so I worked out how this went together, and I was all very happy that I worked out how this went together. However, it would appear that by working it out off the kit, what I've not taken into account is the frames are actually meant to sit inside this gap here, which they very much do not. Dry fitting, it's really important, it's even in the instructions. Good evening, Luke, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Dry fitting. Really important. Oh, you were thinking of the 5 and 9 one, yes. Chris Cox, 5 and 9. Several blogs from Chris Cox on RM Web. And of course, the good thing about Chris's stuff is you can buy it off his website. Well, I don't think he actually has online ordering, but you can buy all the kits he makes for that blog. He's a very talented person, is Chris. And in fact, we have used some of his stuff on this stream in the past. That went well. Of course, this is the problem with super glue, is it will break like that. And your wheels will run off. I'm very well, thank you, Luke. I do have an urge to get a jet. I'm not sure he actually still has all the stuff needed for that, Killian. My camera going funny there. She looked over and it looked like it was all vibrating. I'm sure that wasn't actually happening. Yeah, I'm not sure Chris actually has all the stuff to make the Loco kits anymore, Killian. You'll have to drop him a message. I know they're not officially in production, but neither is a lot of other stuff. Certainly if a Jenny Lind is available, I too would like one. Right, so we had this all worked out nicely. It all seems to be right how we worked it out. But at the same time, not. So it's times like this that this is the sort of thing that people who complain about this kit are complaining about. I shouldn't have to make it fit. That side, of course, has stuck really well. Of course, for early railways, there is also, from the Brighton again, because everyone loves the Brighton, Ian White's modelling. East Grinstead Town, and he's now actually making a layout called Hailsham Common. It's Hailsham Station, all 19th century, 1870s, possibly 1860s, I believe. Which can be found on the internet at earlylbscr.org, I think. Another great one, well worth checking out. He is also the author of the new LBSC Carriages Volume 3. Available on the HMRS online shop from sometime in the next week. So guess what we'll be doing in the future? Right. I'm going to take some more off this. We have half an hour to go. I would love to see the logo looking like what we expect the logo to look like before we end the stream tonight. Right, let's get the glue back. Early LBS here, there we go. Thank you, Alex, for that. Ian is a very, very talented modeler. I forgot to put the wheels back in. Does the channel automatically hide URLs? It's not supposed to, Cobbs. It's supposed to put a pop-up for either me or Lancaster to approve URLs. However, for some reason it doesn't. So we can't get URLs to show. I believe if either me or Lancaster post them, they will work, because me being stream host, him being moderator, they should. But yeah, it won't. For some reason, it doesn't let people post links at all. It doesn't even give me the pop-up to ask to approve it that it should do. Because YouTube. Oh, the broad gauge is awesome, Harry. I do like a bit of Great Western broad gauge. Yeah. Definitely think I could have got away with fitting some oh no, that goes underneath, doesn't it? Some bearings in this side, in this. Right, I'm actually gonna see if I can undo this bolt, pop it off, and put it together that way, because I think it'll be easier to put together without the chassis there. Last big G-Days. Yes, it did, Killian. They lasted a lot longer than people realise. Just not in the ways that people think they would. I've owned my bearings are only just over here, so I will grab them. I'm going to try and fit these. If they don't work straight away, I'm not playing around with them. But there's definitely too much slack in there that the bearings will help. But no, I like the broad gauge, and whatever anyone says, the Brunel's broad gauge was a superior system to Stevenson gauge. That's all there is to it. Brunel designed his broad gauge around locomotives. Stevenson gauge was designed for horses. Just having, alright, it can only fit one bearing, but it's making the wheel a lot more stable. Broad gauge doesn't interest me in the slightest. It's a long way to travel, Killian. I'm not coming all the way over there. I'm quite happy here in Hicktown. There it is. Yeah, broad gauge was the superior gauge. That's all. It's fact. You can't argue against it. There is no argument against it. It was designed for locomotives. 4 foot 8.5 was designed for horses. And that's why Stevenson built locos to that gauge, because he was building for existing horse-powered systems, which was even the Liverpool and Manchester was originally designed not to use locomotives. Brunel started from scratch and designed a gauge for locomotive use. It was faster, it was more stable. It was just better in every way. Still plenty free running. Good. That's what we want. You can disagree as much as you want, but it allowed faster speeds, it had greater stability. The broad gauge was achieving speeds in the 1860s that standard gauge wouldn't be able to meet until the 1920s. Yes, of course, larger wheel diameter, yeah, less rolling resistance. It is a scientifically provable fact that broad gauge was better. That doesn't mean you have to like it. But it was better. In the same way that diesel and electric traction is superior to steam. Doesn't mean I have to like it, it's still a fact. Right, I think I've got that sorted enough that I'm going to put it back on here. I'm not going to put the nut on. So I had to turn Stevenson and Gooch to bail him out. Yeah. Oh no, I know Brunel hadn't a clue how to design a locomotive, but the gauge itself was better. Brunel was a lot of things. A locomotive engineer, he was not. Again, scientifically provable fact. I sent it around for two relative to the gauge and posed vertical stress on rails which are well designed to withstand. There's a low centre in place of natural stress that will distort the track. Yes, I agree, Stephen. There's some solid engineering facts there. However, the fact you can and will have it's the other way around. Will have the highest, or at least did in all of the GWR cases, have that set up. You don't have to have it like that. Yeah, brilliant civil engineer, no regard for the shareholders. Yeah, very well good description of Brunel. Right. I'm going to attempt to get some glue in there. That's not going in like that, that's nozzle's too thick. Do these come with a thinner nozzle still? No. Yes. Come here, thin nozzle. And where did I say? Come off. I don't think you directly said it, but your arguments make it appear that you don't like it, Stephen. You make very, very good points. I'm not doubting that at all. That went well. I've forgotten to put the bit for the coupling in the buffer beam, haven't I? I need to do that first. Again, problems such as it falling apart can be solved quite simply by soldering. Yes, but Alex, as I've just said, facts, just because something is superior or isn't superior doesn't mean it has to be what you like. As I say, diesel and electric traction are superior to steam. Doesn't mean I like them, and I will say nasty things about them still. It's okay to like something and still know that it is inferior. So I don't think we should infer from Stephen's comments that he doesn't like it. Right, that's another bit fitted. I retract my marriage off the teeth. Saying its heyday, it's fast anyway. That's Stephen's narrow gauge engine you're building there. But where is the soul? Well, Stephen, there is a simple answer to where the soldering iron is. I want to use my streams to teach people who have never done these things before how to do them. When it comes to white metal, as someone who has never done it before, it's much easier to glue it. So for this kit, I am going with glue. I will, however, in the future, do some white metal soldering. But this one will be glued. I've actually bought some stuff for doing soldering even better with. So it's definitely coming. So everyone, as I've noticed whilst trying to fit this together, these frames have locating lugs to go into the buff beam. And then everything lines up really nicely. Oh, I'm very upset that you've retracted your offer for marriage, Killian. Although, yeah, I don't like diesels. Mostly lead, which, yeah. Yeah, white metal does have a low melting point, but you can get low melt solder that has a lower melting point, and I have a temperature controlled soldering iron, which I would advise anyone who wants to do soldering to have regardless. In which case your low melting point of white metal isn't nearly as much of an issue because you're not reaching that point. But yes, we will get to white metal soldering at some point in the future. I'll practice in secret. Will the i3 be soldered? It could be. Would you like me to solder the i3? Why don't I like diesels? I just don't, to be honest. Antex 50 watt. I have a rather posh soldering station. It's not Antex. I can't think who it is made by. But it's a very nice soldering station. We will obviously explore that in the future. Now the problem here is opening these out is this hole doesn't go all the way through the buffer beam. Only it sort of does, because the hole for the buffer is also there, but it's slightly offset. So as well as doing that, I'm going to do these and hope that between them we get a nice fit. I hope you see the light. I should definitely see the light. Harry, we don't need comments like that. Okay, you'd like to see the i3 soldered, that's fine, we can do that. Yes, I have still got the Millwall Extension Railway tank. I intend on building it on a stream at some point, because it's yet another medium we haven't explored. I actually spoke to the creator of that not too long ago to confirm what motor they had used. And gearbox. So I will be getting the same motor gearbox combo that they used. And I notice it is now 5 to midnight. So we really want to get on with this sharpish. They are all electric at 4 mil to the foot, unless you buy Hornby's Live Steam A4 or A1. 4 mil Live Steam, and it's twice one. So all will be people doing Live Steam in 009. Really? Are you sure about that, Luke? I'd be very interested if it is true. But I've never heard of Live Steam 009. Or it didn't happen first of all, exactly. If you don't like electrics, you missed out on leaning on a gate near the foot of Grey Rig on a rainy day, circa 77, watching the 86 and 87 flash by doing the ton. I definitely did miss out on that, Stephen, because that's 11 years before I was born. So, yeah, I did miss out on that. when and where I grew up, it was Vep, 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 Vep in Aquafresh livery. Not a fan. That's all I can say about that. Right, let's put this chassis back on. See electrics, I yawn, I fall asleep. Yeah. Veps at the end of the garden certainly do that to you. Except for German electrics and train sim world. Yeah, fair enough, Alex. You play with them quite a lot, so... Of course, the good thing about white metal is when it's slightly out of shape, it isn't too bad to bend back into shape. Where we have 90s and have had for a long time. Where I live, we haven't had a railway since before I was born. But I don't live where I grew up. Right. It is midnight, everyone. I am going to call the stream in a second. But first, before I do that, let's put that there. That there. That there. And that there. All the other bits all need cut. Oh no, we can get the chimney out. But the hole's not open for it because I haven't filed a hole through for it. So yes, we are going to, it might be a bank holiday. I might not have to get up in the morning, but we're cool. Well, actually I do have to get up in the morning. That's the problem. So we are calling stream there. It has been great having everyone here. I have enjoyed our discussions on broad gauge, motive power, etc. And whilst I have been enjoying that, I have also found a Thunderbolt. So I am very, very happy right now. Thank you all for coming. I'm really looking forward to doing it all again. I hope you will all come and we can discuss all sorts of things in the very near future. Next Sunday, 9 PM. I really, really hope to see you there. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Have an excellent night and have a great week. Goodbye, and thank you for tuning in.